this is part 3 of the Year 9 revision. If you'd like to see part 1 and 2, check them out in the playlist for Year 9 Term 4. So this section, we're going through some percentages questions. In the previous videos, we've looked at similar triangles, expanding, factorising, solving, and some finding equations of line. So $250 decrease by 21%. So a couple of options for how to do that one. We could say that if we've decreased it by 21%, that means that we have got 79% left. So we could do 79% of 250. You also have the option of doing that with your percentage button on your calculator. So if you do 79 second bracket, see how it comes up with a percentage on there, and you can times that by 250 and get 197.5. Your other option is to change that 79% to 0.79 and then just times 0.79 by 250 without needing to use the percentage button. Your other option is to find the 21% and then take it away. So again, you could go 21 second bracket times the 250. And I've hit something in between there, sorry. 21 second bracket, times 250. We get the 52.5, and then we'll do 250, take away that answer, and we get 197.5. So we can do it that way. And then, or you can do the 0.21 times the 250, which will get the 52.5, and then do 250, take away 52.5 to get the 197.5. So a few different options for how to get to that answer. Then we've got our 4,550 increasing by 5.3%. So again, a couple of ways we can do it. We can say that we've got 105.3% multiplying by the 44550 on our calculator using the percentage button, or we can change that to a decimal and have 1.053 multiplying by 4550. So just seeing the difference there, this is where we've got the percent and we're using the percent button in our calculator, or we're using it as a decimal. When we do that, 105.3, see how I've got the percent button on coming up on there, timesing by 4550. So I get my 4791.15, or I'm doing the 1.053 multiplying by 4550, so that's not using the percent on my calculator, and see how I'm getting the same answer. Other option is to find out that 5.3% first and then add it on. Then we've got a find the selling price if a TV that costs $240 is marked up by 30%. So our selling price is going to be our cost price plus 30%. So we can again do like our previous ones. We can do it in the 1 step or the 2 steps. So our selling price, we can just do 130% times our cost price, or 1.3 times our cost price, or we can find out the 30% and then add it on. Either way, we should get 312 as our answer. So again, if we had just found 30% of the 240, we would have got 72, which we would have added onto the 240 and got 312 there. Finding the original price if a pair of shoes sold for $130 and after a markup of 20%. So if you've marked it up, you've added on 20%. So you've got 120% is equal to the 130. So we can use what we call the unitary method and go back to what 1% is by dividing by 120 and then times by 100 to get to what 100% was, or the original price. So we can do the 130 divided by 120 and then times by 100, and we get $108.33 for that one. The last one on this page, we've got find the percentage profit if a house was bought for $390,000 and sells for $520,000. So obviously we need the profit first, where we'll do our $520,000, take our $390,000, and we get $130,000 And then what we're going to do is grab that 130,000. We're going to divide it by what it cost us, which is the 390,000, and times by 100 to convert that to a decimal. And we've got 33.33%. Okay, the last two that I'm going to look at in this series is our simple interest and our compound interest. So in my first video, I talked about how for simple interest, I always used simple interest is PRT, and other people may use PIN or have PRT over 100. I always like to write mine down the side and do any conversions before I get into the question. So I'm finding my interest, my principal is 3,000, my rate is 4%, so I'm going to change that to 0.04 right up. That's where you'll see some will have over 100 because they'll do the dividing by 100 within the formula rather than at the start like I do. Our time is 5 years. Obviously, if we're given months, we'll convert that to years. I write my rule. I put in what I know, 3,000 times 0.04 times 5. I grab my calculator and I get $600. Now, the question only asked for the interest. If we'd wanted the amount at the end, we would add that interest on. So we would say 3,000 plus 600 is 3,600. In the last one that I'm going to look at is a compound interest one. We want to find the amount at the end of 10 years if $300 is invested at 7% per annum compound interest. So I'm going to write down my A, P, I, N. So my amount, I don't know. My principal is $300. I've got my I is 7%, and I'm going to change that to 0.07. We're having compounding annually in grade 9, so we don't need to do any changes, but if you have compounding monthly or quarterly, obviously you'll need to change your I and you'll have to change your N. Our N is 10, so we then write our rule. And we will do 300 outside of 1 plus 0.07 to the power of 10. I'll grab my calculator and I can put this all in one go. So 300, I press my bracket, 1 plus 0.07, close bracket, use my little up arrow to do my power, and it's to the power of 10. So I've entered exactly what that is there, and then I get 590.145. So I'm going to round that to 590.15. Now, if we were asked for the interest, obviously we would take away what we put in from that. So we would have $290.15 is our interest for that scenario. This question only wanted the amount at the end, so that's why I just worked that out.